Well, I was just looking for something to do, and Ken had that stuff available, and that was my first introduction. I began to feel the wood and enjoy, that it's pretty soft stuff. And I found out with using these power tools, I could make it look like whatever I wanted to. So it was a lot of the inspiration comes from actually handling wood, beginning to understand their feel. The soft ones and the hard ones feel very different, and you can use them to get different effects. So the inspiration started kind of snowballing along with experience. And I would get other ideas, like, oh, I could do this too, and then I would sketch it out just a little bit. Usually these sketches are just beginnings, and then I don't work on the drawing anymore, I work on the piece. That's the way most of them go. Recently, being very interested in Calder's work. I forget his first name. Alexander Calder was a guy who first introduced mobiles and stabiles to it. And I liked his work so much, I've now started working on things that I see that he has done. And in this case, it's a lot like one of his pieces. I call it Bad Hair Day. He called it Bottle with Hairs. But they're really very much the same. And the fun of it and the joy in this was the cherry piece that is the head and shoulders, if you will, in a very sort of contemporary looking head and shoulders. And the hair is really weird. And that I really like that. So now I'm more and more interested in kinetic type pieces of art. So I expect I'm going to be doing more wire and wood. Like I've got a maple burl that I bought, and I'm going to change this baby into a wire and wood piece that's going to come from my head. And I've gotten as far as getting the wood as finely sanded as I want. We're going to do something with these two pieces together or something like that, I was doing some pretty weird stuff before Manhattan, Lower Manhattan. Really strange sort of just interpretations that I put in wood. And I thought, well, you sure you're still altered to reality? So I thought I'd work on something that was real. So I started collecting aerial photographs of Manhattan. It's the most recognizable skyline in the world, along with Paris, I guess. And I thought, well, it'd be cool, just to do a 3D image of Manhattan Island. And I started at Battery Park and moved up Manhattan and putting in all these wood pieces to hopefully to look a lot like the existing building in New York. And in this piece, you'll see that if you take a look at these and look at photographs, you'll see they're pretty accurate in terms of the shape, and size, relative size. I was kind of just looking for something to do, and I saw this wood and I thought that was pretty neat, and so I came up with the idea, well, I could make a puzzle out of all those pieces. And so I started with a 2-foot by 4-foot plywood piece, had a little wood frame around it, and I started putting these pieces together. And Ken came out and he's watching me work laboriously over little tiny cuts and cutting really close. And he grabbed a round dowel rod, the stuff you hang your clothes on, and he cross-cut that into about 7 unequal pieces. He put glue on the bottom and he stuck them in my piece. And he goes, well, how about that? I said, that's fantastic. So I got over it's got to just fit just right and be perfect, and began to enjoy. Ken helped me enjoy just the fun of doing something that was creative. This one is Growth of the Universe, and what I did was I started at the smallest piece at the bottom here, and that is about 14 million years after the Big Bang. Then about every 4 billion years I put in an interpretation of the size and the complexity of our universe as it was growing. And the last one here, the biggest piece then, is the universe as we know it today. And I put some specific things in here. You notice these weird looking red wood things sticking out? Those represent the dust clouds that we see way out in, God, light years, hundreds of light years away. But these are the areas where they believe that the stars are actually born. It's the gathering of the dust and the chemicals into the individual stars. The textures, the softness of it, it's 3D, you know? And I can take a piece of wood and make it look like just about anything. And I think that's really neat. And you know what? A piece like that will last hundreds of years. The wood will not deteriorate. It'll just turn brown, but you know, easily age that way. But it's forever. Wood's a fantastic resource. We still use it for framing in our houses.